before we get to your answer on the cell phone,
Okay.
I want us to quickly look at the questions in the chat box.
Okay.
When you left, there were some students who had a couple of questions. So Karabu asks, if someone commits a crime and their fingerprints are collected, but they are not on the system because they're a first offender, can they be caught whenever they try to have an ID book made or a bank card issued because their fingerprints are on the system?
Prof, network problem, please. I beg your pardon.
Okay, not a problem. Can you hear me, Colonel?
Clearly now.
Okay, so Karabu wants to know if a person, let's say, commits an offense and their fingerprints are taken, but it's not on the system, so there's nothing to compare it against, nah?
Yes.
When they apply for an ID book or a bank card, their fingerprints are usually taken. Are these two systems linked, and will the person then be identified through this process?
Thank you, Prof. How do I answer this? It is a no. These two, these I think are two different systems.
Okay, so the one with the fingerprints, that's the local criminal record center. So that's the criminal record system is where the fingerprints are. Yeah.
It's a criminal record. That one is a home affairs system.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
And when I apply for an ID book, will they not run my fingerprints against the criminal record database?
I am not sure. I think the person from Home Affairs can be able to answer that.
Okay, all right. I'm going to honestly give you an explanation of how I experienced it. It's two different systems, as the Colonel said, and in terms of the POPIA Act, your information may not be utilized for something other than what you are giving it for. So in other words, they cannot now take my fingerprints and run it against a criminal record database to see, okay, Bernadine is applying for an ID book now, but let's just see, perhaps she's got a criminal record somewhere or fingerprints. So no, that would be a no in terms of how I understand the processes.
I agree with you, Prof.
Yeah, so Kagiso wants to know, a private investigator who works, let's say, for a company, and there's an incident and the company doesn't want to open a criminal case. What resources are available to collect physical evidence? And I think one should then first of all ask, what is physical evidence, and what resources are available to then collect physical evidence. But Karabo, I think one should then first take a step back and ask yourself, if you're a corporate investigator, you are going to be collecting evidence for what? For a disciplinary, to make a decision on a disciplinary hearing. And then physical evidence could be things like documentation, or when the person came and went with their access card, or a biometric system where a person punched in and left, things like that. So there are resources available, and I think we deal with it in the forensic investigative resources. I think FAR 3706, that module deals with it there as well. Colonel, do you want to add something to that?
Prof, it is I'm exhausted now.
Okay. Yes, sorry.
Private investigator, and then if they collect those evidence, I do not know their process. Where are they going to take those exhibits to? So I do not know their process. I only know the process of SAPS.
Yeah, of the police. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Tsepu asks, he has a question regarding the LCRC, the friend question. He said, what if he said yes? And he supported his question by saying, if a proper procedure was followed or work ethics were followed, and there's nothing wrong about asking my friend, can I get a clear answer provided? So he wants to know. He wants to use his buddy from LCRC, and they will follow all the right procedures. Will this be allowed?
Why his buddy, if I may ask? Because LCRC work like this. There will be a personnel on standby. So whatever case is reported, it will be allocated to personnel in standby. So it means now TEPO will say, I don't want the personnel on standby. I want my friend. Why?
Okay, Colonel. There's no case registered.
If there is no case registered, it is a no. The LCRC members will only attend the crime scene if there is a case registered.
Okay, all right. Okay, then we took note of Nomatlubi's response to the DNA swab, and we've taken note of Lee's answer with regard to the LCRC. Okay, so Tapong wants to know, in terms of regarding record of fingerprints and DNA for a current investigation, what is then used to track or trace a cybercrime, which is presumably committed by the same person, considering how technology evolves? So Tapong, unless there's DNA or fingerprints, I don't think Colonel Sikipa will be able to answer this. But I do know that there are cyber experts external to the SAPS who are able to identify people's, let's say, hackers' signatures, and then they are able to link them through that process. LCRC doesn't keep record of specifically cyber criminals; they keep record of all criminals. And not just specific cyber criminals. And then Tobias wants to know, what was one of the most interesting cases you were ever involved in?
Myself.
Yes, you.
Okay, thank you. My research when was doing my master's was house robbery evaluation of the processing of house robbery crime scene. It came out of the interesting, or let me not use the interesting, the painful case that I have attended of a house robbery whereby someone lost her life. Oh. So I'm not sure if that answered Tepo's question. Is it Tepo?
Tobias.
Yeah, Tobias, yeah.
Okay.
So
did you testify?
Yes, I did testify. And like I've already indicated, I had several convictions whereby the perpetrators were sentenced for lengthy years.
Okay.
Yes,
okay, well done.
Thank you so much.
I see Pumlang has asked, can anyone apply for police with a degree in BSc in forensics, or is there age restriction? I think there are age restrictions for when one may apply to join the SAPS. There are age restrictions. It's clearly set out in the adverts. And then Nibius wants to know, what about fingerprints that have no registered owner in South Africa? For example, an illegal, undocumented foreigner. Does this also just go into the Criminal Record Center database?
Yes, that is the challenge that we had at LCRC, whereby you attend a case, you find a very nice fingerprint, and then there's no record of that person is an illegal foreigner. That's where those fingerprints will be just placed on the database.
Okay, all right. Okay, Colonel, do you have an answer yet for us about the cell phones?
Yes, thank you, Prof. Where do I start? My source. Firstly, I want to be honest with our class prof, and be honest to you as well. My source is my junior. We are working together, but he specialized in cell phone. Communication analysis. He's always in and out of court. So by the time I responded to you over the WhatsApp, when I said he's still consulting, he consulted advocate, I will say the same name is not a problem, advocate Sikukune from Limpopo, who said he never come across that because there is no legislation that allow that. Like I've indicated, the reason I contacted my colleague was I wanted clarity, because here we are dealing with corporate investigation. Whereas my experience as a police officer, I knew that only police officer is allowed or have access to do that. So I just wanted myself and my colleague to go through this, so that when I come or when I present to this class, will be able to answer each and every question. So the answer is no, no, no. Private investigator cannot go to court and apply for Section 205. It's only done by the police official. Private investigator, he can only do that through the police investigator. For an example, if it's a theft case, the case supposed to be open and then allocated to the police investigator, and then that private investigator will communicate with the subs investigator.
Okay, yeah, that legislatively makes so much more sense. So thank you very, very much for taking time, and please extend our appreciation to your colleagues as well for taking the time to answer our questions. I'm going to open the floor now to any other students who want to ask questions. I'm going to allow for microphones. Then I'm just going to ask that you raise your hand if you have an additional question, and then I will take the first two hands, we will answer, and then we will proceed from there. So any other further questions that you want to ask Colonel Sikipa? I'm not seeing any hands. Okay, Karabo, yes, please, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Okay, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, I wanted to ask Colonel Sikipa, because he said something about our cell phones recording everything and our WhatsApps recording everything. Ne? So, you know, our latest WhatsApp, they have this thing of disappearing messages. So let's say I'm chatting with you right now, then I activate disappearing messages. Then maybe after 24 hours, the messages do disappear. Then can the cell phone experts or whoever is working with a cell phone recover that data? That's all I wanted to ask him.
Okay, that's a very interesting question. Colonel, do you perhaps have insight into that?
The insight is that everything you do with your phone, it is recorded. It can be retrieved.
Okay.
And that's the long and the short of it all. Everything you do with your phone, even if you delete it, even if you have disappearing messages, it can be retrieved.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask.
I'll just give you the example. Sorry if they are, they mustn't report me if there are students who are my colleagues. The July unrest. If the students remember, the communication was via WhatsApp and stuff.
Yes.
But we managed to to find everything that was communicated over the WhatsApp and messages. So I'm supporting whatever you do with your cell phone, it is recorded and it can be retrieved. Whether you delete, it will be retrieved.
Okay, that's
Okay. Can I ask
very.
one more question?
Yes, Karabo, please go ahead.
Okay, this one is from the first assignment about asking your body and all that. So
Yes.
I want to know that if you ask your body and you do not follow the right procedures, will it not be regarded as conflict of interest?
Colonel Sikipa?
It is. I said nobody at all. Why body? We work according to the procedure. Only personnel who are standby will be told to go to this crime scene. Nobody.
Okay, thank you, Colonel. I'm satisfied now.
Thank you, Karabo.
Thank you.
Karabo, you can lower your hand. Are there any other questions? Okay, I'm going to, if there are no further questions, I don't see any further questions in the chat box. I'm going to thank Colonel Sikipa because I know she has a family to get to. I'm going to thank her very, very much for her time and her insight and sharing her experience with us. We look forward to hosting her in future as well on the site. And I must also say that Colonel Sikipa is one of my key markers for your module. So I hope you've listened well because she will also be helping mark your assignments. Can I just ask, please, for those of you who have not yet done so, please go and just take the survey. It's a quick survey. I'll put the link on the chat. Take the quick survey. It'll help us to just improve how we do what we do when we offer online classes. So thanks, everybody. We will be sharing the link on the module site tomorrow. Have an awesome evening further and goodbye.
Thanks, Prof.
Goodbye, Prof. Thank you.
Thank you.